I have to find there we go. Welcome everyone to the November NSO membership meeting. Tonight we're going to talk about how to get to state cup, regional, and national events. And I have a very good panel for you to walk us through this process. So let me share my screen. And we'll do some introductions. Okay, so I know that three of my panelists of my four are here. Morgan Storrs, Ray Gerking, Alex Wolbert, and then Mason Hull will be joining us. We'd like it to be an interactive session. So as we go along, please ask questions. This is a safe place to hopefully be able to ask questions to figure out if you're interested in advancing your referee career, that you can get the information you're looking for. And Mason has joined us as well. Morgan is still in the car, so she's not coming on video yet, but when it's safe for her to come on video, she will join us that way. So I think what we'll start off with is, Ray, I'm going to have you start off with introducing yourself. I've made it really easy. Here's the items I'd like you to cover, so that way just everybody on the call, if they don't already know you, they'll get to know and understand a little bit about you as you go through the rest of our questions this evening.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ray. I think I've been a referee for like 10 years, probably 10 or 11. I'm still just a grassroots advanced referee, but I'm working on getting my regional badge for 2026. Number of years, state cup events, probably like 7 or 8. And then I've gone to regionals, I think 4 or 5 times, 4 for sure. And then the national championship events, I've been to President's Cup 1 year, President's Cup Nationals, and then the National Championship Series in Florida the last 2 years. So those are my events.
And have you done any other type of regional national events?
Not like USU soccer. I've done some ECNL travel, but I haven't gotten the chance to do National League. I'm planning on doing that this coming year, though.
Okay, perfect. You did that just how I was hoping, Ray. Thank you. Okay, Alex, we'll go to you.
Okay, Alex Wolbert. I've been a referee for probably 7 years. I am a regional referee, currently working on my national upgrade. I've been to probably 6 years worth of state cup events, Rec Cup, Select Cup, regular state cup. I've done probably 5 regionals, 4 in Idaho, 1 in Hawaii, and then 2 national championships, just one this last year and one 3 years ago. And I've also gone to MLS Next playoffs and ECNL playoffs and finals. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay, perfect. Mason, I'm going to let you go next.
Sounds good. My name is Mason Hull. I've been a referee for almost 4 years now, still about 3.5. Grassroots advance, working on my assessments for regional. For state cup, probably started in 2022 or 2021, so about 3 years worth of state cup, starting from rec cup and then working up to big boys, high school, stuff like that. And then regionals, I've been to President's Cup once in Idaho and then Far West in Hawaii this past year. And then for nationals, President's Cup in 2023 in Kansas, and then that's it for now. Other regional and national events, This year I went to USO Academy in Tampa in March, I think, and then or in December I'll be going to Phoenix for National League, and then hopefully next year will be filled with whatever is available for me.
Fantastic. Okay, Morgan, are you good to go? And can you see the questions, or do you want me to read them to you as we go?
No, I can see him. I'll be home in about 5 minutes and then I'll turn on my camera.
Okay.
Okay. I'm Morgan Stores. I've been reffing for 5 years. I'm grassroots advanced. I went to President's Cup regionals in Utah this year and will be going to President's Cup nationals next year. And I did ECNL playoffs this year, but that's all I've done for other regional and national events so far.
And what grade are you there, Morgan?
Grassroots advanced.
Okay, perfect. So now that we all know a little bit about our panel, we'll move on to our next question about state cups. So state cups is kind of that first step of getting recognized outside of the Puget Sound area. And so I think we'll go reverse order, but I'm going to wait on Morgan first. So Mason gets to start us off this time. And can you just tell us, you can see the questions on the left-hand side there, just kind of walk us through those questions.
Yeah, so I got involved in State Cup. I got an email, I think, by you, Richard, when you were the SYRA, talking about Referee Academy, which at first I didn't really know what it was. So I asked my local assigner about what it was, and he was like, "Yeah, so it's just State Cup. You'll meet up at Starfire on a weekend and do some games and get mentored." And that one was Rec Cup initially, and then you move on to Founders Cup, and then President's Cup and National Championship Series in January and I think May. Age requirement, or is that okay? Age requirement.
Is there an age requirement?
No, there's not. I think you usually will see some newer kids like 14, 15, maybe 13-year-olds at State Cup, and then you'll have the older guys in their 50s and stuff. Experience usually for Rec Cup that you're not going to have much experience, which is okay because you're the same with the players. They don't have much experience either. And then you do get paid for State Cup through whatever arbiter or whatever they choose to do it through. Cost, I believe if you're out of the Pierce County or King County or whatever, they'll cover your hotel for the weekend, which is pretty nice. Usually there's snacks and food provided for lunch and breakfast throughout the day there, and you just basically provide transportation and dinner. So yeah.
Hey, Alex, your turn. However you want to build on what Mason kind of started us off there would be great.
I definitely got involved either from an email or a recommendation from you or your brother way back when. I've participated in all the different levels of State Cups, from rec, select, they call it big boys, high school boys, or high school girls even. Age requirements, I think Mason covered that. Anybody can really do it for recreational cup. Experience same way, right? Getting new people in the door. Yeah, I got paid every time. Didn't have to worry about that. Cost, I live close. Didn't really need any cost covered. But overall, State Cups, I think very good experience no matter where you're at in your refereeing career, either a few weeks or months in, or this could be year 4, 5, or 6, maybe even 10. State Cups are always a good time for refereeing.
Okay. How about you, Ray?
Yeah, so my experience has been a little bit different than everyone else just because I went off to college in the middle of the last 4 years. But when I first started with State Cup, I think it was when D White was still in charge, and so it must have been through email or something. I don't really remember. And then I really enjoyed it because of the mentoring that you get at those events, because you don't really get that anywhere else. Now it seems like it's being done more, which is cool. But back then that was really the only place to get mentored. And then through my 4 years of college, I would try and come home and like help whenever I could, um, just in order to like be able to qualify for regionals and nationals, because that was always a goal of mine. And then yeah, so I've participated in all of the state cups as well. Usually more high school girls and rec cup just based on my schedule, but they're all super fun. So yeah.
Okay, Morgan, your turn.
Okay. I first got involved with Rec Cup just through email. I think it's a good environment to start in, and like Ray said, you get mentored, especially for new reps. I think that's important. Age requirements, I think we got that. You get paid, yep. And I've participated in all the state cups, I think, now. Yep. I think that's all.
Okay, before we move on to regionals, I'm gonna pause for a minute to see if anybody has any questions. You can feel free to raise your hand or type something into the chat. Either way. Look at that. You guys did such an outstanding job of covering all the different aspects of State Cup. Nobody has any questions. I was hoping at least somebody would ask a question to stump you. Okay, we will keep moving along here then. Next is regional championship events. So we will go with Alex first this time.
So I got involved with regional events back when D White was still the S something letters following, and she asked me if I would like to go to regionals that year for Idaho. This was at a state cup event. I think, as Ray mentioned, you have to attend a state cup, at least one, hopefully more, to be eligible to represent the state at a regional championship event. So whatever year that was, however many years ago, she asked me, I said yes. I was still in high school. The regional championship I've only done, whatever, it's the regular championship events. There's a President's Cup one, and then there's a different one, and I've only done those 5. Age requirements, I think they changed it. I went when I was 16 or 17. I think they changed it to 18 now, maybe with a dad, mom coming. You can be younger than that. For payment, we got stipends from both U.S. Youth Soccer, from the state, and if you're a really good NSO referee, they can get you some money too. They cover your hotel. Your stipend kind of covers your food. I think you get reimbursed for a car if you drive, maybe. So yeah. Regional championship events, I'd say, just like Morgan said, it's a great environment for a referee, either an experienced, inexperienced referee, could be year 2 or 3 of your journey, could be year 15. Just to learn, participate, work with other referees from other states, see other teams that you don't hardly ever see from all across the region. I think there's 14, 15, 16 states in our region. So it's a really cool week-long event with mentorship, meetings, learning opportunities, stuff like that.
Okay, Mason, what do you want to add to this?
Yeah, basically, Alex covered most of it. I got involved just doing state cups, getting an email, and then just confirming my confirmation. I went to President's Cup 2023 and then Far West in 2024. Yeah, like Alex said, age requirement. Some states are a little too lenient, I think, and they don't have an age requirement. You'll see 15, 16-year-old with no parent or guardian. But I know here in Washington we have 18 strictly, which is very good. We do not get paid from doing the games at least. We get paid in mentorship, which is very nice. But we get a stipend for a flight, or if you're driving to Idaho, it's not too far. So stipend for gas. And then your state might do a delegation dinner sometime during the tournament. So that also be paid for all by the state. Um, then other stipends for a car, whatever you might need. Yeah, I think it's a really fun event that I look forward to every week or every year. Um, Last year for Far West being in Hawaii, I think that was a pretty cool experience. I've never been to Hawaii before, so that was definitely a new experience doing something that I love, which is refereeing, and then being there for a week just in a whole different state is really nice. So I'm looking forward to this one coming up in Idaho before. I think they might change the format again, but yeah, I don't know.
Great, thanks, Mason. Okay, Morgan.
Okay. I got involved by Richard inviting me to regionals this year. I went to President's Cup regionals in Utah. The age requirement's 18, like Mason said. I got a stipend we had to fly since it was in Utah, so I got a stipend overall, which paid for everything, and I ended up profiting like $100 off of it, so it was pretty good. Yeah, we had the state dinner. I thought it was a great environment. It was great to be with other states and compete against them, but also compete against yourself, essentially. You're trying to do the best that you can. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay.
Hey, Ray, what do you got to add here?
Not a whole lot. For me personally, I got invited to regionals after like 1 or 2 years at State Cup. So I had like some more experience before I went to regionals, so that was fun. And then yeah, I've been to Boise as well as Hawaii. And something else that like I don't think anyone touched on is there's often like pro referees there, like watching and teaching. So that's pretty cool. If a goal of yours is to maybe move up or upgrade, they're great people to learn from.
So I liked how all of you kind of provided a little bit more information in regards to the experience with regionals. Let's go back to state cups maybe, and if each of you would talk a little bit about what if someone was to reach out and say, "Hey, I'm interested in being in state cup." What would they expect the experience to kind of be? In regards to the number of games, training, etc. Let's see. We'll let Morgan go first this time.
Okay. I think I had 2 games a day-ish. What else, Richard? 2 games a day. I think it's a good environment because everybody's cheering each other on. It's not refs against refs. It's everybody's looking forward to seeing other people do well and other people improve, and it's a good opportunity to be mentored and show yourself off essentially, and maybe have the opportunity to go to regionals that year or the next year.
Okay, Ray, what would you add about the experience?
Yeah, something I remember is like before the tournament, I'm not sure if you guys still do this, but like the day before, there would be like a big meeting of referees and we would go over like procedural things like international walkout, just like little things like what do penalty kicks need to look like as a crew, like things like that that you don't often deal with in like league games. And so then you can get experience like with the whole group and like ask questions in a safe environment. And so that was something that I remember doing that was really useful, and not something you get to do like just in your everyday referee life.
Hey, Mason, what do you got for us?
Kind of like what Ray was saying about regional events. There's times where like pro referees like Jeremy Hansen or Christian Clare will do presentations about some or a certain topic before or the day before a tournament. And some of them or most of them were in the same shoes as us at a point, so they have that experience and can tell us how to succeed and would do and not do things that will hurt you during state cups. Uh, and I just think, yeah, so I think the instructional part is very important before the matches start, and then also usually sometimes in the morning of Saturday and Sunday they'll say like if something's changes or if anything else needs to be addressed, they'll do more instruction, which again helps us succeed during the state cups.
Hey, Alex, what do you got to add?
So I could have been listening or I could have not been. I don't think anyone said anything about fourth officialing, or being a fourth official, which if your goal is to make it to a regional event, it's something you're going to have to experience or learn how to do. And I think State Cup is one of the very few opportunities we get in this state to be a fourth official. I think it depends on what State Cup you're at, but obviously the point is that that's an opportunity for you to get to practice how you interact with coaches, how you manage the technical areas, stuff like that, which will help you at a regional event or ECNL, MLS Next Playoff, where they do use fourth officials on almost every single game, no matter the age. And the other thing would be they used to have, and I don't know how they'll do it this year. I'm not in the loop with that, but they used to have trainings, some sorts for the referees, either a day prior or in the middle of. I always thought that was cool, just because for when I was a newer referee, I think things we went over were like kicks from the mark, penalties, proper procedure, things like that. Things you just don't get to practice during the regular season, overtime stuff, things like that. So hopefully they have that again. Not up to me, but yeah.
Okay, great. I'll keep us moving along here. So the next one is national championship events. I think I kind of just heard Alex talk about how things change. And so I think one of the changes that happened this last year at P Cup for regionals was that they not only selected their referees that went to nationals for 2024, but they also selected them for referees that will go to President Cup Nationals in 2025, which Morgan was selected for going to nationals in 2025. So Morgan, I don't think you've actually been to a national championship event. So I'll let Mason go next and talk about his experiences in regards to these questions on national championship events.
So yeah, my first one, the only one I'm going to so far was in Kansas last year in 2023 for President's Cup. At the end of regionals, when they do the final assignment selection for the whole PowerPoint presentation and stuff. They'll also do the national selection too. And I was lucky to be selected as an alternate at first, and then someone dropped out, and then I was able to go in Kansas. So age requirement is kind of the same, 18. I think nationally they do it 18, but regionally it's a bit loose. Similar to regionals, you do not get paid for the games you do, but what is really nice is that your flight will be paid for and booked for you by U.S. Soccer, so you don't have to worry about finding the right flight or anything. And they give you they'll give you stipends per day for food, mostly primarily for dinner, breakfast and lunch is provided. It's a I feel like a little harder of a process to get your stipend or your money back for your food because you have to take pictures of your receipt and then submit it. It's a mess, but yeah, it's not the most practical part. But these are national events are really fun. I really enjoyed it. And uh, so when you room with your regional for regionals, you usually room with someone from your region, or not, sorry, from your state. For nationals, you'll room with someone out of your region, which I think is really cool because you're gonna meet some different people and kind of build your circle outside of the people you're comfortable with. And that goes for the same as the assignments you get to. You'll get people from all over the country, which is also really cool, and seeing how they officiate as well.
Okay, Ray, I'm going to go to you next since you have experience at both a President's Cup national and a national championship national event.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I got selected to go to P Cup Nationals a few years ago. That was really cool. What was interesting was it was like only like two or three of us from Washington went, and there was no like representative from our region there. And so we were kind of like underdogs at the tournament almost because um at those kinds of events like you kind of have to have people that know who you are in order to get like certain games and things. But so like, I only had one, like, whistle for the whole week, but I still ended up getting a final, like, a line, like, which was cool, because at events like that, like, if you do well and you work hard and you do the things that you learn, like, at state cup and at regionals and you apply them, um, it will get noticed, like, regardless of if you have people that knew you before that week or not, so that's pretty cool. And then for nationals, like Mason, my first year, I was selected as an alternate, and then I was lucky enough to get to go. And then I got a final, that year as well, which was cool because I wasn't even, like, selected to go initially. And then this last year, I was invited directly back to nationals. So for US Youth Nationals, you either get a direct invite back from the previous year or you have to like work back through regionals and get reinvited. I was lucky enough to get reinvited, so I've kind of like experienced all three different pathways to those events, and then lucky enough to do another final this year. So um, I've had a really great experience at all of those events. They've all been super different, but all super like meaningful. And I'm super glad that like I made the time to go and do it because it is a long event. And it's a lot of work, especially in Florida in late July. It's obviously not easy. But I think that we're set up really well for success. So that's good.
Hey, Alex, what do you got to add here? Being to a couple of national championships now.
Yeah, I have been so like in the beginning, I have been to two national championship events. Both times I was selected from regionals, something that wasn't covered maybe so in regionals and how to get to a national championship event. You work your way to that based off your performances at regionals. So unlike nationals, where it's long, but it's very short in the amount of games you get and time you have on the field, regionals, it's like a constant, it's a tournament for yourself, I would say. Starting with group stage, quarters, semis, finals, then hopefully selection for nationals. Nationals, it goes by a lot quicker for the games. It's still maybe 2 games a day. Then towards the end, they go straight into semifinals and finals. And most of the time, if you get a semi, you don't get a final, or if you get a final, you won't get a semi. However, I really enjoyed both times I went to Florida, Orlando, 2 national championship events. Like Ray said, it's a grind. You have to work. The teams get better, the referees get better. But then also at that point, you yourself there that week, you're also getting better from what you're learning from other referees, from other referee coaches, experiences in high-level games. So if your goal is to get, like mine, as high as you possibly can in the refereeing world, I think a national championship event is beneficial to you no matter how it goes with the games you get or the outcome of whatever you do there, however you get there. I think it'll help you improve. 1 time going, 2 times going, it's made me a better referee every time I've gone. So I'd say the work leading up to it is worth it.
So would the 4 of you say that the work that you do at State Cup, just like what you're talking about at regionals, gets you to nationals, and the work you do at State Cup gets you selected to be able to go to regionals with an invitation?
Yes.
So any advice in regards to the State Cup process that maybe you look back on and maybe said, well, I wish I would have known that piece, or I wish I would have done this, that maybe would have gotten you to a regional event sooner, or maybe helped you be able to perform better at regionals?
I think most importantly, like, you need to work hard on the game that you're given. No matter if you think maybe it's a stretch for you or you're better than the game, whatever like opinion you have of the game and of yourself, like you need to give your best effort no matter what. Um, and then always just be willing to learn. Even if you think maybe the person telling you whatever information might not be like 100% right about everything, it's important to like take pieces from everyone along the way, because that's the only way to get better. You have to be coachable. And so I think like it's the little things like that that are super meaningful and impactful, like to get you to those tournaments, because if you're mentored maybe at State Cup and you're super receptive and you're working hard, then it's way more likely that you're going to be recommended for the next event because you'll be mentored even more there. And so you don't want to come across as someone who isn't interested in feedback, because then there wouldn't be any point in um, giving you resources to do more if you're not interested or not presenting as interested in getting better, because there's always like something that you can learn, and you never know like where you're going to learn it. So just keeping an open mind and working hard, I would say.
I think to add on to that is being prepared on and off the field and having a good attitude even when you're not in the game, because especially at a regional event, there's always people around and there's always people watching, and having a good attitude and paying attention to what's going on is just as important as what you're doing in the game.
Mason and Alex, do you guys have anything that you want to add?
Yeah. Something that I wish I did sooner was to ask a lot more questions. doing a state cup for the first time for me was a little overwhelming at first, but as you keep doing more and more games, you'll get more comfortable. I wasn't too exposed to mentoring, so I didn't really know how that process looked. We just sat down, talked about the game, and I feel like a lot of mentoring sessions, some are going to benefit you, and some aren't. Some are not going to benefit you at all. But like Ray said, take little bits of each meeting you have or mentoring you have, and use it in your own game. Like if you want to learn how coaches and mentors actually mentor, maybe go sit with them watching, or go sit with them while they watch a game. And that goes with regional events too, and national events too. When you like sitting with the mentors and seeing how they watch the game. When I went to nationals last year, Ray Moffitt was there, and I sat with him during the girls 19 final, and just seeing how he kind of nitpick things, and how what he likes to see and what he doesn't like to see. So, and also kind of being social, and as in knowing your mentors, knowing your assigner, stuff like that. Those things are also helpful to kind of understand who you're working for and how they like things to be done. So yeah.
So I think um, you know, what's been brought up in these conversations is this is kind of a process that you have to sometimes partake in, do games that maybe you don't think are challenging for you as an official. But I think if you go to regionals, I want to say there's probably almost 100 referees that go to regionals, and out of that, I think it's 20 to 30 are going to be invited to go to nationals. And so that's 70 people who aren't going to be able to move on to to nationals that are at regionals because they want to. And I think in regards to state cups, you almost can do the same math as what I think a lot of what was said here earlier is, you know, a lot of people started off at Rec Cup as kind of your entry point into the state cup process. Often I heard then Founders Cup was kind of that next step. I know at Founders Cup, there's usually about 90 referees that go. And then the following weekend, which is the weekend that most people really want to ref, is the boys high school weekend, where you get to do the U15 through U19 games. And you only need about 45 referees to officiate those games because you have so fewer games. And so you can see right there, even if you just took the pool of Founders referees of 90 and then cut that in half, that's all that's going to make it to boys high school. So you really do have to do your part in being engaged, have a good performance on and off the field, so that you're continuing to get invited back. And I think a lot of another theme that I heard from this panel is seize the opportunities that are presented to you, because it's what gets you further to your goal down the road. But it may seem like a long process to get there. So that kind of talks about the more traditional way that I think a lot of referees get themselves seen and move their careers beyond the state level. That path of getting to either a national referee or maybe start into the pro referee program. But I also know that a lot of refs in Washington have participated in other events that there's not maybe as formal of a process to, in order for you to be able to get exposed either regionally or nationally. And so I just thought I threw out a couple questions here. I think Ray, you mentioned some other regional or national events you've done, as well as Mason and Alex. So if you could all just, and Morgan, if you have, please speak up here too. What are the events? How did you find out about them? And kind of what those events look like? I don't know who wants to go first.
I can go first. So I have done USU soccer. I think they call it National League E64 events. I've done a few. I've done regular ECNL showcases as well as the playoffs. I've also done a Dallas Cup. The slide helped me remember going to a Dallas Cup and MLS Next events. With all of these events, if you just go to the website, there's usually a spot for referees, and there's a way to contact the assigner or find the page that allows you to apply. Most of the events you apply. It's a quick Google form, name, what state you're from, what's your referee grade, how long you've been reffing, simple questions like that. You apply, they get back to you within a certain amount of time. And just like regionals, say most of the time you have to cover your flights and a car if you need one, but most of the time they'll put you in a hotel for the weekend. And again, I would say it's just like getting good at anything. You need reps, and these places are the best place, I'd say, to get reps in order to be better at regionals and nationals, because you're getting to see, just like the players, new teams from all across the country, new referees from all across the region or the country. And so it's the same idea with maybe just a little less at stake. But it's a great, and another opportunity where they have mentors and refereeing academies and so on to also just learn while you're there, learn from other referees from other states while you're there. So I'd say worth it. The other piece I would add is if you're a more social person, you get to work with a lot of new referees from other states all across the country. Sometimes Dallas Cup, Mayor's Cup in Vegas, you get to work with referees from other parts of the world. At Dallas Cup, I got to work with 2 FIFA referees at the time, from Barbados and St. Kitts Nevis. May have got that wrong. But they were there as their own referee academy, working with the local referees and the non-local referees at that tournament, which I thought was a really cool experience. And yeah, I think I would highly recommend, if growing as a referee sounds interesting or fun, I would say traveling and taking the time to do at least one of those events would be worth it.
Okay, Morgan, have you ventured out and done one of these yet?
No, I have not. I did ECNL playoffs this year, but I don't think that really counts because it was in Washington. But I'm thinking about doing some of the E64 events this coming year. I think there's one in January, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
Did Richard vanish? Never mind.
Aha, I think I'm back now. Thank you, Alex. Morgan, I'm guessing you probably finished. Thank you. Mason, do you want to add anything to add?
Yeah, I kind of got involved through a Facebook group. There's this guy that runs this group where he'll post a bunch of links to these events that you can just apply to. My experience, my first one was the USL Academy showcase in March of this year. It consisted of teams from MLS Next, ECNL, and USL Academy, which I think was really a cool tournament. There were US youth team scouts there, scouting for players for their team, and same with other professional clubs from Europe and stuff. The level of play was very competitive, and again, just meeting more people, being in a different state for a whole week was awesome. and more bigger tournaments like Dallas Cup, like Wilbert mentioned, you'll see a lot of more FIFAs and national and pro refs there, which to me, I think working with as a grassroots official, not regional yet, but working with the FIFA referee would be pretty cool. Just doing a game in Dallas just sounds amazing. So, and the format's kind of the same. You get hotels usually paid for the most part, as Nisco said. Flight, you have to pay for yourself, food, and then just transportation to the field, and that's really about it.
Okay, Ray, I'll let you finish us off for this slide.
I just have like a slightly different thing to add. For female officials in particular, USU soccer, or not USU, sorry, US soccer, has a really cool initiative called the Women's Initiative. There's a group of female referees led by like Carrie Seats and Nami, and a bunch of different, I think Brian Hall's even involved in it, but they have a group trying to empower and grow the number of female referees involved just throughout the country. And so they have a group that now that the owner of the um, what is it? One of the NWSL teams in DC, the team that was just in the final, she just donated $30 million to US Soccer for Women's initiatives. And so there's going to be a lot more opportunity, especially for female referees, to travel and even have flights paid for and have like different like little academies at these tournaments. And so if anyone is interested in that, I can send Richard like the link to the email group, and then there's like monthly Zooms for that. And then going to State Cup and regionals and nationals would then be an avenue to like help you like get opportunities to have more things paid for going forward. So that's what I have been able to do in the last year, is go to like I went to an event in Colorado Springs through that women's initiative group, and it was all a group of female referees, and we did games and like had nightly like review sessions. So that was really cool. So if anyone's interested in that, like I would love to share that, because it's been a really great experience and it's only going to get bigger.
Great, thanks, Ray. We're about to get to the end of my slides here, which I'm sure the panel's like, oh my gosh, finally. But I'll end with, I think this is my last one. What words of advice do you have in regards to referees and this journey of going beyond just doing weekend games or games during the weeknights, and get maybe a little bit more serious about the referee career path? What's your words of wisdom? And Mason, I'll let you go first.
Personally, fitness is very much important here in hydration, nutrition. Not only will it set you up for your games here, but when you're regional nationals, where it's in the summer, it's in hotter places, humid places, you're gonna need to be hydrated. You need to be nutritioned, and properly maintaining your fitness. I don't think nutrition was a word. I don't know. But yeah, and also, sorry, I'm blanking. I just had it. What was I saying? Yeah. So yeah, just fitness, is very important. I would say instead of doing, 3 to 4 games back to back on a weekend, maybe find a mentor and do 1 or 2 higher profile games that will help you prepare for these state cups. Yeah, and do you want to answer the questions on the slide too, or no, Richard?
I'm sorry, what was that, Mason?
Do you want me to answer the questions on the slide too, or no?
You don't have to. It was just some things that I thought of that potentially would be good.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I have then.
Okay. How about you, Ray?
I would say just don't be afraid to be yourself. I know everybody says that like in the referee world, but and in life, but it's true. They're not looking for another one of what they already have, like nobody is. It's important to kind of find your own voice and style like as a referee and then just grow like with that as you go. And then like have confidence in yourself. When you get a game like that maybe you're like, "Oh my God, like I've never done this level or this type of game." Like don't try not to be scared, like take it as a compliment. Whoever gave it to you believes in you. And then also like find a group of like friends or people that can support you, because it's not always going to be easy. You're going to make mistakes, everybody does, but if you have like a group of people around you that understand what you're going through and can support you, it makes it a lot more fun and a lot easier to grow and like get through the hard stuff. So yeah, like be yourself and have a community.
Hey, Morgan, what do you got for us?
Um, just put your best effort forward. Um, I personally go back and I watch the footage of my games, especially the ones, my important games. Um, I've gone to team managers before at even lower level games and asked for the footage, and they've emailed it to me before. So I think there's definitely ways to be able to watch it back and reflect on yourself, as well as what Ray said. I think having other people supporting you is important. I've had other people watch my footage. So even when you don't have mentors, there's other people that can help you out and help you improve.
Great. Hey, Alex.
Uh, I think at state cups, no matter first time or 10th time, uh, the best analogy I can say is be a sponge. So if if you're dedicating your weekend to state cup, then dedicate it. Ref your game, take time with whoever was the mentor, the referee coach, whatever they call it now, after the game for the feedback, suggestions, advice, whatever they give you, and then go watch another game. Go watch maybe a game before or after and just see what that referee crew, what that referee, what that AR do and don't do. And use State Cup as an opportunity where you can learn from your own game, but also from the other games going on. Starfire is, it's not a big complex in theory compared to other places. So it's really easy to go from game to game, referee crew to referee crew, and just see how their games go, what they do, how personalities interact, and the way it works for games or the way it may not work, is another way that you can learn at state cups. And also by finding the mentors or referee coaches watching those games and asking them questions and just picking up, I think Mason mentioned it, picking up from the referee mentor or coach that's watching that game and what they like and what they would like to see. And so at state cups, I would suggest just making it about making your weekend, just that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, about that state cup. Don't just show up, do the game, then take off to go do your ECNL game or whatever RCL game somewhere else. Like really take the time for that weekend and dedicate it to State Cup to learn as much as you can, so that the weekend after, when you go do a big ECNL game, you're that much better as a referee.
Great. Thanks, Alex. So I just wanted to share some contacts. I know that Jonathan Simmons threw also a URL in the chat in regards to being able to apply for Rec Cup. Wayne Jackson right now is the acting SYRA. You can also reach out to him and let him know that you're interested in doing Rec Cup, which we had the dates earlier in the presentation. And then I don't want people to forget about our Washington Premier League State Cups. Although they're not a path that the state uses to get you from State Cup to regionals, those WPL State Cups does a great job of preparing you for that State Cup atmosphere of play, where you've got teams that are in semifinals and finals to be able to win their state championship. So Craig Allen does the assigning for the WPL State Cups off of the NSO website. So he's another good person to be able to reach out to and be involved in those events over the next several months. And at this point, I'll just pause. Did anybody have any questions about state cups, regional events, and national events, and how to be able to get involved or engaged?
Richard, I've got a question on logistics that I'm curious about. For, when I did the ECNL playoffs last year at 60 Acres, there was a separate website or app you had to go to see what games you're assigned to and to accept. For all of these events, state cups, regionals, nationals, do they all have different apps like Assigner or whatever you have to go to see which ones you're assigned to and to accept or decline?
Yeah, I believe so. Who wants to take that question?
So for different events, like regionals, like nationals, when it's more so a week-long event, there's usually day one where they'll walk you through how to set up that app or set up that account. If you're going to an ECNL event, maybe for a weekend showcase, there's usually an email a couple weeks prior of just what app you have to download and what account you have to set up. It's usually straightforward for everything I've ever done, unless people start to get crazy and try to make things really hard on us referees. I don't see that changing. So the assigning platforms is usually straightforward. There's a bunch of different ones, but they're usually straightforward.
Thanks, Alex. And then booking accommodations and flights, you're on your own. You get the stipend, other than the national event that Mason mentioned. But for the regionals and out-of-state ones, you're on your own, booking your own accommodations.
Yeah. What I would recommend is, if you're doing an event that's not a regionals or a championships, kind of like a vacation almost, planning it out early ahead of time. Like if the event's, it's, what is it now, November? If the event's in April, planning on being gone that weekend in April, looking at flights, just like a vacation, when's the cheapest time to get that flight to fly in, at a good enough time for the weekend, and then when to fly out is probably the easiest way, rather than trying to do it last second.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I was just gonna ask, like in general, in terms of state cup events and then moving to regionals, is there anything specific to do just to like let people know that you're interested or anything like that? Because I've done a couple state cups in the past, and honestly, this kind of hasn't really been on my radar as something that is even possible to do until recently. So yeah, just anything to speak on that.
I would say just talking like to Richard and Craig, if you see them like in the referee room, or if you know of any people that have gone to those events that are also like happen to be at the tournament. Those are great people to talk to. Showing interest is a really good indicator that you're on the right path. So definitely just reaching out to the people that either like Craig and Richard that are in charge of it, or if you don't want to like talk to them, talking to people that have gone through it to kind of get like the feeling for what to do next. I would say Craig and Richard are super nice, so yeah, just ask them.
Yeah, I think they're in the process of figuring out what they're going to do for a SYRA. Until then, I think Wayne Jackson's the right person for you to reach out to let him know that that is a path that you are wanting to go down, so that get from him what the best things are to do. The other part I remembered is that when you do get picked to do a regional event, the SRC does have some additional requirements that you have to meet beyond the State Cup events. And I'll let anybody here help remind me what they all were. But I believe that you needed to go to the Pro Clinic, which is in March. You need to go to Sounders Day, which unfortunately we didn't have in 2024, but hopefully it'll be brought back in 2025. You also needed to go to the RDA and participate in the RDA at Central Washington at the end of July. Did I get all those requirements correct, or did I miss any?
You were pretty close. So the Sounders Day is kind of going away, and it's going to be the Pro Clinic, and it will be RDA.
Okay.
Are kind of the two pieces that they want to see everybody do when you do participate in a State Cup event.
Great. Any other questions? Okay. We had such a great panel tonight. I want to thank Alex, Morgan, Ray, and Mason for joining us and sharing their experiences. I think it's always great when you can get different perspectives on how to be successful in this path. So I really appreciate the four of you tonight joining and providing your experiences and advice. If any of you have questions in regards to your games that are going on right now, please don't hesitate to reach out at me. I know the games have kind of intensified over the last few weeks as the league season winds down and teams are jockeying for getting into playoffs opportunities. And so we as officials just need to work on recognizing that and continuing to call the simple fouls and punish bad soccer. Unfortunately, we continue to witness some of that harassment and discriminatory behavior on our pitches. And we as refs, when we hear it, we have the appropriate tools to deal with it through cautions. Unfortunately, when it's harassment and discriminatory behavior, it's often a send-off, and we as officials need to do that. As we all know, we don't always hear what has occurred, and sometimes players or coaches will bring it to our attention. And at that point, there's not a lot that we can do in our youth games because we haven't been provided an avenue to deal with it beyond, I think, letting the coaches know what happened, letting them know it's unacceptable behavior on the pitch. And I encourage you to let your assigners know what's happening. I know several of us are working with clubs and with the leagues of trying to help get these behaviors addressed. With that, I think I just put in the chat an exit survey. We really would like to hear from you in regards to the benefit of our monthly Zoom meetings. So if you would take the time to fill that out, that would be fantastic. And also, we want to make sure we're providing you material that is something that's of benefit to you. So if you have ideas on topics that you would like to have covered, that survey is a great tool to be able to provide us that information. So please take the time and complete that exit survey that I threw into the chat. And with that, I have nothing else. I thank you again for joining us this evening for this great Zoom meeting. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, thanks, Mason.